Welcome to the Pittsburgh Dish. I'm your host, Doug Heilman. How has this business owner taken his pizza makers to true world champions? We'll hear about it next. Looking for an off-the-radar spot for a quiet date night? We'll talk to someone that's truly in the know. And have you ever added pepper jack cheese as the base to your white chili? We'll hear a delicious recipe from a listener all ahead. Stay tuned. This week's episode is sponsored by Beano's Deli Condiments and their original submarine dressing. That tangy blend of oil and red wine vinegar really punches up the perfect Italian sub. Or one of my favorite go-tos, the roasted chipotle sauce. So good. You can find Beano's products in our local grocery stores, usually near the deli counter or wherever the sauces are displayed. And now on to the show. So thanks so much for being on the show. And, I know so many things that I've read up on you. So, business owner, pizza empire, author, and even a podcaster yourself. But I thought, why don't I just have you introduce yourself? So would you tell everybody who you are and what you have going on?
Sure. I appreciate you having me, Doug. My name's Nick Bogacz. I'm born and raised in the North Hills of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Hampton Township.
Yeah, and I'm the owner and founder of Caliente Pizza and Draft House. And I do have a book called The Pizza Equation, available on Amazon. Give some shameless plugs there.
Plug it away.
Yep, and a podcast called The Business Equation. And, we're just ever expanding with Caliente. We have 7 physical locations, and then we've got the 5 stadium locations.
Yes.
So we started in 2012. And in the last 12 years, we've really expanded our footprint.
Amazing.
Over 200 employees.
I was going to ask, how many folks work at Caliente? And actually, you're expanding even more because you ventured into, Caliente's always been a draft house, and that was sort of a differentiator for you. But you recently launched a whole other venture.
We did. We launched Dough Daddy Beer Company. Mm-hmm. So we've been contract brewing, and we've been running at least 4 drafts at a time. We're starting to bottle our first beer that's called Dark Side of the Dough.
Oh,
that'll be out right around May the 4th.
What style of beer is that?
Stout. It's a barrel-aged stout. We released the stout right now, early winter part. And then in the May 4th, we're going to release the barrels version in bottles.
I love it. May the 4th be with you.
You got it.
All the Star Wars folks out there. When we first met, it's maybe been a year or so, I got to meet you and a lot of your crew and even your cheese rep. We learned how to pull some mozzarella. But I have to say, I think one of the most impressionable things that I got right away is the vibe of you and your team. A lot of business owners, you've got a lot going on, but it feels like a family. It feels positive. Where does all that come from?
I think there's a lot of short answers, a lot of long answers there. But I think I've naturally always been a team builder. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize it, but we had a youth foundation right by where I grew up, and I always volunteered. I had 2 younger brothers, so I was always their coach, and I got a lot of great leadership skills at a young age. But then, in my adult career, I worked for somebody else, and I think you get to feel like you're on good teams, you're on bad teams, and good workforces, bad workforces, and then when you become the owner, everything comes full circle. And I think at some point, I really decided that it was really important to build a positive team, and you have to care about them before they care about you.
I feel that when I've been around you and some of the folks that work with you. It's a great vibe.
Yeah, it is. And we really, in this day and age, everybody talks about the labor force and how tough it is. Mm-hmm. And we really focus on retention. We feel like that if we can get somebody in and then, we treat them right, we can have them stay for a long time. And we genuinely, I care about every single person that works for us. I really do. And I think they feel that. And then, I can't interact with every single person that works for us, but my team takes it, where they start to care about their employees too, because we preach it all the time.
I love it. It's it definitely shows and it pays off, right? But for anybody out there that maybe they haven't visited Caliente Pizza, do you want to describe a little bit about your different styles you have there? Because we do talk about it's a world international award-winning pizza, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I worked 16 years in pizza. I started as a pizza delivery driver, fell in love with the team atmosphere of everything. And then when I got my little chance to open Caliente, I knew how to make a good pizza, but I worked for a lot of the big companies. So it wasn't like I had any recipes. So we did a lot of family tasting. We did, I had a friend of mine that was a white tablecloth chef. I brought him in. He helped me with a lot of putting recipes in order. And then a few years in, he joined me as part of the Caliente team.
Amazing.
And Eric Von Hansen's been my right-hand man for the last 9 years. And I went to the first pizza competition in Las Vegas. They have these international pizza expos where literally the whole world is there. I mean, everywhere from, of course, your European countries and Italy, but also Taiwan and Japan, like from all over.
Amazing.
Australia. Right? I mean, everybody's there. And the first year I saw the culinary side, and that's where I decided that I wanted to bring Eric on my team. So I went back, spoke to him. I had him over for dinner on a Sunday. He worked at a fine dining establishment in Pittsburgh, and it wasn't weird for him to come over because his daughter. I'm her godfather, so it wasn't like it was weird for him to come over for dinner. Him and his wife come over, their family. I pitched him on joining Caliente, and he said it's just pizza. And then I explained to him about these competitions. And I wanted to be more culinary focused because I saw that this is 2012. I saw that a couple things were happening in Pittsburgh. The beer scene was exploding. And we were entrenched in that and getting great craft beer from all over the country and around the world. And then the other thing I saw is that, that foodie term was starting to really, in early parts of 2012, 2013, 2014, you could see the scene in Pittsburgh was changing.
Yeah, uniqueness, quality, style, ingredients, all of that is really risen up over the last 10 years or so.
It is. And I think that at that time, the big term was farm to table. So a lot of that was why I wanted to have Eric join. I told him about the competitions. I'm a huge goal setter in like personal life, business life, everything. I believe in the power of the pen, writing everything down. So the day that he called me back a week later, said he was going to join me. He was at his last place 7 years, gave him a 3-month notice. That's just the type of person he is. And the day he joined me, I gave him a list of goals. There was the business goals, getting inventory and helping on food costs and stuff like that. But one of the things I wrote down, naive, because I'd only been to the Pizza Expo once, was go to the Pizza Expo and win a world championship.
Well, you've put it out there.
Yeah.
You got to put it out in the universe.
You have to. I believe in that so much. And, and then we had a rocky 9 months, to be honest. Like our first year, he was getting used to working for me. I was getting used to working with him. He was making pizzas where he was used to making plates of duck and filet mignons and great pastas and everything else, and now he's making pizzas. So he's trying to find himself, and I'm trying to teach him the pizza business at that time. So then we go out to Las Vegas, and he had showed me a duck pizza that he wanted to make, and it basically he used the pizza as his palette, and the dough and the shell, and he made a great duck dinner basically on the pizza. And he went back to his room that night, and they called all the winners at the party we were at, and they named him world champion. That was the first world championship.
Amazing. This is the Quack Attack.
It is
pizza.
Yep.
That's amazing.
So from there, we've had lots of great finishes. We won another world championship. We've got the team is starting to buy into all this competition.
Right.
We have a world champion dough thrower on our team that Matt Hickey was with us that year that Eric won, and he saw Eric win, and he wanted to do the acrobats and stuff like that. So we got deep into that. We got named to the World Pizza Champions team, which is a team that's 40 to 50 pizza makers that are really the most talented pizza makers in all the country. And we travel all over from London to Italy, all over the country. When we went over to Italy in 2019, Eric made a pizza that he sourced all through Italy that was the Mima, and it won the best American pizza voted on by Italian judges.
That's amazing.
So all that happened, and then in the beginning, the cool thing about the Quack Attack, when I went to sign them up, I wanted to sign them up for traditional pizza or non-traditional pizza because you can put anything on it. The only category they had left, because I waited so long, was the pan.
Oh yes, a pan pizza.
Yep, and you could put anything on it in the pan division as well. So we didn't have any pans. We never made a pan pizza. So we
Back
went
at
up.
Caliente.
Yes. So back in like 2016. So we go up to the restaurant store that's like the used restaurant store, and we said, hey, can I buy a pan? So we buy a pan for like $3-4. And when we get out to Vegas, they're like, hey, you can make 2 pizzas. And we're like, we have 1 pan.
Oh, boy.
And when we won, we went back up to the used restaurant store and we said, hey, we need 30 of these pans. And he's like, yeah, they're $25 a piece. And I was like, wait a second. They were 3. He's like, I thought you only needed 1. So then we started selling pan pizzas.
Yeah.
And then this Pizza Expo, it's like any business that you're in. I really believe in these trade shows. You get to see so many what's coming, what's new. And every time we go, we'd learn about a different style. So we were now selling traditional and pan. We learned about the grandma style. We knew that New York pizza and all the rage. So we brought on and made a Brooklyn pizza.
Those are the big, wide, flat pizzas. Like 28 inches.
It's 20. We make a 20-inch. It's 8 cuts. It's a big slice. The one thing we've never done at Caliente is we've never changed our recipe from day one. So when we want to add something, we add it. We don't change our traditional pizza.
Like the dough and everything. That's sort of been the same.
And the sauce and the cheese, too. So we made the New York pizza. We went and we got a different sauce, and we went 100% mozzarella, and we even went and got the cup and char pepperonis. But it's not like we wanted to make that a New York style pizza. It's not like we took our traditional pizza and changed it. We left a traditional pizza because it built the company. And then we added a New York style pizza. And then we've added gluten-free because we saw how popular gluten-free is. We played with it for a year and a half, 2 years to get the dough right.
Yeah.
And, it's just everything like that. We just add when we feel like we're at the right time, and a lot of practice and stuff like that.
Going to the trade shows and expo, you saw what was possible or what was on the horizon. And I think not only bringing in your partners, but also the team itself, they realize that, hey, we're doing things more than just making pizza at this restaurant. We're really changing the game. We're upping our skills. We're getting some notoriety around that. And I think that also really helps everyone gravitate towards being part of, your whole work family.
There's 16 of us going to the expo this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And we have a great time. We go out there.
It's this March, right?
It's this
in
March.
Yeah.
Yep. And we do things when we go out there. We have a team bonding. We're gonna hit the sphere up this year. Like that's the big.
That sphere is crazy.
Yeah, we've watched it being built for 7 years. I was like, we always do a show. I said we're going to do the sphere this year for sure. And we go out there, we bond. We even have Caliente tracksuits that we all wear. I mean, we just make a good time of it. And the buy-in's there, and everybody learns something. There's a ton of seminars. I'm actually one of the speakers out there. I teach a couple different workshops, business related, but pizza related. And it's just a good vibe, and there's so much information. I really feel like that's been part of the secret sauce of our growth is you get out there, you learn, but you also network. And we've met so many great operators from all over the country that they've gone through things that we may be going through, and you can call them and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. And, become your friends and your colleagues, and they help you through everything.
Yeah, they help you out. I think you're open to that too, in help and in growth and learning and taking a step back. Like I have to think, before you went out to the Pizza Expo and you were opening up in 2012, right?
Yep.
I'm sure you had some growing pains, right? Some big lessons learned even before you had some of the partners and before you had some of those ideas.
Yeah. We always have growing pains. I think any good business has growing pains. I think it's the way you react to them. And I think we've always been open. Like I've always been open to suggestions, ideas, talking through different ways. In the beginning, it was my wife up front running the front of the house, and it was me in the back. And in the end, we've never brought on any investors or any partners. It's just the two of us. We have, like I said, a great number of employees that we've been able to create a lot of career positions inside the company, and that's really why we keep expanding. In the very, very beginning, when I opened my own pizza shop, I like to say there was 3 things that I wanted to do from it. And they were, personal goals. One of them was I wanted to know how I was going to pay for my kids' college because they were 12 and 10. And I never saved a single penny. And the next one was I really wanted to buy a car in this century. I was the king of $500 cars. And the third one was, I want to be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
And in the first year of business, I knew that all those things were going to happen. And it switched for me right there. That wasn't my purpose. That wasn't my goals anymore. Mm-hmm. My goals became when my employees could do the three things or however many things that they needed to do for their families, then I would feel successful. So I didn't want to judge my success off of those three things. I wanted to judge my success off of being able to do that for my team and to create a career atmosphere. So that's why we keep growing. We keep growing so that we can keep adding these career positions and adding the growth for our team.
I love it.
This is Nick from Caliente Pizza and Draft House, and you're listening to the Pittsburgh Dish.
I read a bit of your book or a little summary. You kind of come from a place that I love. I love sharing what I know or sharing what I've experienced. And I think you do the same thing. It's sort of what you do your seminars or what you wrote the book about. You're not keeping it to yourself. You're giving it out to others. And ultimately, it attracts more people and it attracts your success, even though you're trying to really give it away so that everybody else is successful.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth to that. I have the book. I do the seminars, but there's also behind the scenes where I do these seminars, and at the very end, I give my phone number out. Mm-hmm. And I think there's 100 people sitting there like, you're giving your personal phone. And I was like, look, I prefer text. Yeah. I was like, but after we text for a while, if there needs to be a phone call me. But yeah, I'll walk you through anything. I can't tell you how many people who have flown in from across the country and they'll hop in the car and they think I'm going to show them one store, and I take them to all of them and I show them. I'm like, hey, I'm an open book. Let's go today.
My goodness.
And I just let them ride with me. And there's a guy in Florida that it's been opening a store for like the last 3 or 4 years. He finally got open, but I think he was here 5 times. I took him through all the stores, really helped him. But I always say, like, look, I'm not a consultant. Mm-hmm. I don't need any money for it. I'm just paying it forward, and that's kind of the way that I've treated it.
And it comes back to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You had talked earlier about, having sort of this good upbringing where you had some youth leadership and youth centers. I want to sort of take a pivot back because pizza is your thing now. But growing up, did you have any idea that pizza would be a thing? Tell me a little bit about that.
I think if I think about pizza in my childhood,
yes,
a couple different things really stand out to me. It was one of those things that we celebrated with. It was a good report card or winning a baseball game or whatever it may be. We celebrated with pizza. There also was Friday night pizza nights and stuff like that. One of my favorite pizza memories is just kind of funny, I guess, is, we were around the dinner table. The pizza delivery driver comes. Everybody gets the pizza and they forgot the 2-liter.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad was so mad, and he went to the fridge and there was nothing but orange juice. And he was so mad that like the acidity in orange juice of pizza. And it just was like one of those funny things that like when I started delivering pizzas, I would always think like, hey, I can't forget the 2-liter because dad's gonna be drinking orange juice. And then it was just falling in love with the celebration that pizza was like that food that you would celebrate with. Mm-hmm. And then there were big times when we get all the family together, maybe in between New Year's and Christmas, and we would go to we would do Vincent's. So I think it's great that they still get a lot of publicity out there. And,
yes.
And we would, all the aunts and uncles, everybody would go down there for once a year. We'd have a big dinner, pizza, and I think just a lot of a lot of great memories around pizza. And I remember a Thanksgiving at my uncle's in West Virginia. And it was back when Domino's had their 30-minute guarantee. And I remember everybody timing the delivery driver, 18 people, cousins, everybody timing him when he shows up at 28 minutes. Just those moments of pizza stand out to me. I can't ever say there was a moment early on in my childhood where I was like, I want to do pizza. Mm-hmm. What happened was I was working at a car wash making tips when I was 17. And my friend was sitting across from me at lunch the next day at school and telling me how much money he made in tips delivering pizzas. And I went from washing cars to delivering pizzas. So it wasn't like, there was any really thought behind it. But there was a time in my 20s where I decided, I don't know why it's pizza, but that's what I'm good at. Mm-hmm. And if I'm going to do it forever, we need to do it for ourselves. And I would always tell my wife she's a pizza wife for life. And I don't think she enjoyed that for a long time. But now she thinks it's great.
She's okay with it.
Yeah, she's okay with it now.
I think you picked the right choice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love sort of those early formative year stories. And sometimes it is, you got to look in the rearview mirror after you've come to a place. And And also, it's usually the things that were like a little bit of a mess up, which really stick with you, like the orange juice with pizza. Or
Sure.
Didn't I hear another story when you were a delivery pizza guy? You had a car breakdown and your mom bailed you out or something like that.
So, everyone will be like, okay, you were a delivery driver, but how did you end up making pizzas? Well, I wrecked a lot of cars. Like I really did. My first Friday of delivering pizzas, when I got hired, the guy said, "How old are you?" I said 17. I already told him I could work all these hours. He's like, "You tell nobody because you can't hire a driver under 18." And I wrecked my very first Friday.
Oh my!
Then I showed up next week with my mom's car. 3 months in, I wrecked my mom's car. Then they put me inside, and I delivered pizzas for a long time. I started making pizzas, and I learned everything. And then there was a point where I wanted to deliver again. And actually, I hit a kid on a bike delivering pizzas.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Wow. And he was perfectly okay.
Okay.
So throw that out there real quick. He was. But I was coming across the road, and a kid on a bike jumped out in front of me. And then I went into the other lane to swerve around him, and there was another kid on the bike, and he went up and over. And, the ambulance, everything came. I had the pizza topper on top of my car. Like, it was I was like 19. This is like a crazy thing. And then the dad showed up, and he's like yelling at the kid for not having his helmet on. Oh. And it turns out just bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
But I went back and I was like, I'm not delivering any again. I'm done. Yeah. And I didn't deliver for the next 10 years.
Put me on the line making pizzas.
Yeah, I learned. And then I worked my way up to management. Yeah. We had kids real young, and I worked my way up. I needed to be a manager. And it wasn't until like maybe 10 years later that I delivered for another couple of years, but I really took a big break there.
Oh my God. Well,
so it's kind of,
maybe that was meant to be too.
Yes.
Just a little, a little tap in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure.
In the pun.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Like so many good things. And I had a side question. I wanted to know which Caliente is the first one you opened, because I've been to several of them.
Okay. Bloomfield's was the first one.
Okay. Yeah. That's definitely one I've been in.
Yeah.
And, I think I've visited you in Aspinwall, and folks can check out on the website and see all the 7 locations.
Sure.
And then what is your plans moving forward, like expansion of the business or everything with DoDaddy beer that you're doing? Like, where do you see things going?
Well, I think the thing is we've built a great executive team, and we're really striving to build out and have more expansion. So got a couple different projects in the works. The stadiums have been really good for us the last 2 years.
You're in Acrisure Stadium. I knew that. You're also in PNC?
We're in PNC Park, and we're also in PPG.
You are, yes. That's right.
We're the official pizza of the Pittsburgh
Penguins.
Penguins.
Oh my gosh, you're in a triple threat.
Yep. And then we're in Penn State too. We're in Beaver Stadium.
Okay. Oh,
and we're also in the Pergola Ice Hockey Arena at Penn State too.
Wow.
So we really, and this is all within the last 2 years, really. So we popped those open, and it's been great for us. So look for us at more stadiums. We're definitely trying to expand more. And then I think on top of that, we actually have a product line coming out.
Oh, really?
So we jarred our sauce and our hot honey. So we've got a sauce line coming out. We've got our original pizza sauce you'll be able to buy, a vodka pizza sauce, and then our New York style pizza sauce.
Oh, that sounds great.
And also a hot honey.
I love that hot honey.
Yeah.
There's one of the grandma pizzas that I love that has the hot honey drizzle on it. And that's like one of my go-tos.
Thank you. So our focus is going to be trying to get those into supermarkets and different local grocery stores and stuff like that. So that's going to be early 2024. We're going to be out there. You'll also be able to buy it at all the Calientes. You'll be able to buy it online, Amazon as well. But we're really you're going to see a product line from Caliente coming out. The Uni pizza oven craze is huge.
Yes.
So our thought was, if you're at Giant Eagle or Shop and Save or wherever, Coons, and you've got a choice between a Ragu pizza sauce, or Prego, or a Caliente pizza sauce, like we think we're going to have a pretty easy choice for you.
Oh my gosh. I love that. I look forward to it. I'll give you one more suggestion if it's not in the works. I love that. It's like the hot oil.
Yes.
What's that? That
our hot pepper oil.
You need to bottle that and sell it in those places too. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We'll keep that in mind too. We do bottle it, so we maybe we start to pitch everybody, we'll pitch that as well. Yep.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Nick, we've covered so much ground. I would just love to ask, is there anything we didn't talk about that you think I should have asked you?
Well, we did cover a lot. And I think the part that I always think is important too, especially in Pittsburgh, is that, you see a chain start to pop up. We started as mom and pop, and then we've had so much success. And I really struggled with being called a chain at first, you know?
Yeah.
And I think the thing is like, I'm local as local can be.
So local.
Yeah. My wife's born and raised here. I'm born and raised here. You know, we're Pittsburgh through and through.
You're employing a ton of local folks, and it's you've got this efficient machine of a business, but you are a family business.
We are. My son's 21. He's in the business every day. You know, he's at all the stores working. He's like our catch-all, you know. So we've got all kind of different executive positions, but there's also, you know, my son who's, you know, when somebody's shorthanded or somebody's sick, he's covering at a store. He's working inside the office. He's learning it as well. You know, my wife's involved every time we open a new store. She's in there helping design it. I'm every single day I'm at it. But, you know, I think that's gets lost sometime when you start to slap that chain onto the end of it, is that, hey, we're local. We are mom and pop. We're born and raised here. You know, it's definitely a Pittsburgh thing for us. And you know, a lot of people ask us like how we got into the stadiums. I told that right there is what I told the Steelers. Like, hey, like I'm local. I grew up 20 minutes from here. Like, you know, I'm Pittsburgh through and through, and we think it'd be great to have a Pittsburgh brand inside the stadium. And they were like, yeah, that's great.
I think that's amazing. I mean, we're so used to sort of you know, corporate run Sodexo or something in all those places. So it's actually great to see an actual local business in the stadium.
Yeah, they were all ears to that. Like, they have all been so great. Everybody's, you know, you hear like, oh, it's hard to work with the stadiums. Like all the stadiums have been great. Like the local sports teams, the more that we work with them, I mean, they are so entrenched in the community. And I think we always have done a lot of fundraising and donations, and it's been great to be able to hook up with their organizations as well, all three sports teams, because they're so entrenched in what they do with the community. And we've been able to work together too. And whether it's just feeding their volunteers or, you know, where we've been able to do more and actually help with their charities, like it's been a great connection that way too.
I think it's just again, I would say the key to your success is you in some way are always kind of giving out and giving back. And when you do that, you're getting more from it.
Yeah, I think there's truth to that. I know when we started everything, my wife said, you know, sure, the purpose of having business is to you know, one real simple way to make money and, you know, have a profit and livelihood and all that stuff. But really it was, you know, we wanted a way to be able to give back and give back at tenfold. And we have always kept that mantra. And I think the more successful the company becomes, the more that we've been able to do great things. We actually had a great promotion this last part of 2023 where we brought in a little girl from Make-A-Wish named Cora. We created a pizza with her, and we were able to leverage our Steeler relationship. So we brought in Larry Okajobi, and we went ahead and we just today in the mail we just got the big giant check to give out when we see her next, and we were able to raise $10,475 to give to Make-A-Wish, which they say about one wish is about $5,000. So we'll be able to be able to create two wishes. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Bravo. That's awesome.
So, you know, all those things, we just think it's so important to be able to give back and really support the communities that support us.
Key to your success.
Yep.
Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'd love to give you a moment to give a plug to everything you got going on. Have at it.
Yeah, I would just say if you haven't tried a Caliente pizza yet, you know, definitely get out and give us a try. We would appreciate that. You can find us at worldsbestpizza.com. We've got a great newsletter where every single Monday we update what's going on, different specials. And I think we really have focused on trying to make sure that we're offering some great deals throughout the year that really are family friendly. So I think that's the other thing, you know, we've got that Pizza and Draft House name. And, you know, may wonder, like, is it a bar? But we're super family friendly.
Family focused.
We are. And so I would just, you know, really encourage you, if you haven't visited us yet and you like some of the things I said, come in and grab a slice and grab a pizza with us.
Absolutely. Nick, thanks again. Before I let you go, I ask a question to everyone that's on the show. And maybe this won't be a hard one for you, but what is the best dish that you've eaten this week?
This week. Wow. So I was over at Endora.
Okay.
They're kind of like Mount Nebo Road.
Yeah, I know that.
All right. I had a veal Marcella.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
It was awesome.
Amazing.
I mean, really, really good taste to it.
First time.
First time. We just were over that area. It was 7:00 at night. Kind of just had to find a place to eat. You just happened to be in that area and hungry. And my son and I stopped, and it was fantastic.
Endora.
Yep.
I love it. Nick, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Doug.
Up next, the weekly recommend. Thanks to Isley's for being a sponsor on this week's show. Isley's is a hometown brand that we're all familiar with. From their deli products, including chip-chopped ham and your favorite barbecue sauce, to coffee, to their ice creams. From classic vanilla and White House cherry, we're excited for the return of chocolate chip, with the Jimmies, coming back to stores near you very soon. You can check out more ideas and products from Isley's by following their Instagram page at Isley's Nation. Hey, so we're back with our friend Ashley Cesarato. And Ashley, I was wondering if you could give us a restaurant recommendation this week. Maybe someplace that's a little smaller or a little under the radar that you love.
Yeah, so I have the perfect place in mind. It's Café du Jour in the South Side.
In the South Side, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not a French restaurant. So he inherited that name whenever he bought the business about 23 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it actually used to be a deli. So you can see that whenever you first walk in. They have the kitchen back there behind the counter. They have a handful of tables inside, and then outside, I think, is what makes it really special for the warmer months. They have a patio out there with tons of plants and vines, and they even have a pond with turtles and fish in it. And it's really special. It doesn't even seem like you're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, magical little spot.
Yeah. So besides the ambiance, the food is great. Chef Paul is very creative, and he's always he does a lot of specials. The menu is pretty small, but I have been there probably a dozen times, and the food is just consistently amazing. And he tries to pull influences from global influences. So he'll do something with Moroccan spice, or he'll do an African spice lamb chop, and just all kinds of different flavors.
What's a dish that you've had there that really stuck in your head that was so delicious?
It was a mushroom and goat cheese crepe.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's lovely.
It was outstanding. And something that I always have to get there is their pecorino dip.
Oh, wow.
It's cheesy and garlicky, served with these little pieces of toast. And then also his mushrooms. I don't know how he does the mushrooms. He gets this crispy crust almost on the outside of the mushrooms and serves it with truffled burrata.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just out of this world.
That sounds amazing. So Café du Jour down in the South Side.
Yep.
Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ashley Cesarato is one of the co-founders of the popular Facebook group Pittsburgh Foodies. You can follow Ashley on Instagram at eatingwithashley.pgh. This week's listener recipe is a white chicken chili that I have never heard of before. Let's give our friend Sherry a call to talk more about it.
Hello.
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So I'm calling because of this white chili recipe. It's not like anyone I've ever heard of.
Well, back in the mid-teens, when I was working for U.S. Airways, I was out in Phoenix for a business trip, and my manager at the time, and her name was Tandy. Hello, Tandy. Had a few people over one evening, and this was one of the dishes that she had. I thought it was one of the most delicious things I had ever tasted in my life. Since then, it's been a big part of my dishes that I cook on a regular basis.
Oh, I love that story. So walk me through the recipe. I know you start out with some chicken breasts that you boil in salted water. You kind of poach them, right? What do you do after you boil them?
Well, after I let them cool down for a little bit because they're going to be hot, I like to shred them.
Okay.
Now, I almost added this in the recipe that I uploaded to your website. If for some reason you'd like to cube those, that's absolutely fine. My preference is shredded. I think it looks better. I think it gives a better mouthfeel. But if your preference is cubed, do it the way that works best for you.
All right. I love it.
While you're waiting for your chicken breast to cool, if you've purchased a block of hot pepper cheese, then you can go ahead and shred that. If you already have it shredded, you can go ahead and start that melting because that does take a little while. If you don't have a double boiler, a proper double boiler, and I just use that 8-quart regular stock pan.
Yes.
Put the water in that and just have a regular 3-quart saucepan on top of that. And that's how I make my double boiler.
And so you use the double boiler to melt the cheese down first, right? And you add some cream to it. Is that right?
I'm adding the cream while I'm adding the cheese because adding the cream or the half and half does allow the cheese to melt faster than if you don't add it.
Yeah, yeah. For that step, you're just melting the cheese. So then when you actually start the soup, you start with like a little flour and some fat in there, and you have some vegetables. I think, did you call for 2 types of peppers?
Yes, green and red bell peppers as well as onions.
Uh-huh.
And if you wanted on a tiny bit of a spicy side, I also would add one small finely chopped habanero pepper.
Oh, I like that.
Once you have your cheese melted, then you're essentially just adding everything to your large stock pot.
Okay.
You want to add all of your sauteed vegetables.
Okay.
And you just add your broth, your beans, your chicken, and your cheese, and just stir it all together, and then let it sort of reduce down a little bit, let those flavors play well together. And everything's pretty much cooked, so you don't have to do that step for too long. And that's really all there is to it. It's a little time consuming on the chicken side and on the melting the cheese side, but other than that, it's a very, very simple recipe.
Well, and I think your recipe, like, it makes a really big batch too. So you do it once.
It does.
You're going to have it.
It does, and I've made. I do that often, and it does freeze pretty well. I've done that.
Okay, great. It sounds so like rich and cheesy. I just love it. I had a different white chicken chili recipe, but I think it just had cumin in it. It didn't have like all of the cheese and the cream like you put in. So it's very different.
Well, the addition of the jalapeno pepper cheese is my own, because I'm not sure what my friend used originally. It was some sort of like mild white cheese.
So if somebody wanted to dial it down, they could just use not pepper jack cheese, but maybe like a cheddar cheese or something else that melts nice with the cream. Sherry,
exactly. Yep.
It sounds delicious. Thank you so much.
It is, and you're very welcome. I hope you make it someday, and I'm going to have to make it for myself pretty soon here after talking about it.
Oh, great. And thanks again for including a picture. I put that up on the blog as well so people can see it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
All right. Thanks, Sherry. We would love to feature your recipe on the show. Head to our website at www.pittsburghdish.com and look for our Share a Recipe form. That's our show for this week. Thanks again to all of our guests and contributors, and to Kevin Selecki of Carnegie Accordion Company for providing the music to the show. We'll be back again next week with another fresh episode. Thanks for listening.